What's up, everyone? Time for a review of the 6th studio album by American rock band Cage the Elephant, titled Neon Pill. Cage the Elephant are one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time, and I have my oldest brother to thank for that, as he showed me songs from albums of theirs like Melophobia and Tell Me I'm Pretty, and my first full album exposure was in 2019 when they released Social Cues. That was an album that actually ended up being my album of the year for 2019. It had such a cool fusion of post-punk, garage rock, and some psychedelic pop in there. And it did have some more heartfelt moments, some very painful moments, but had some real flamers and bangers on there, like Black Madonna and House of Glass. I was so curious to see how they would follow up such a great record. I was hoping their follow-up would come sooner, but obviously because of the pandemic and Matt Schultz, the lead singer of this group, went through a lot of personal turmoil. He had another divorce or breakup, and of course he was arrested for possession of weapons in a hotel in early 2023, around the time they started writing this new record. The first single to this album, the first new piece of music we got, was in January of this year. It's the title track, and honestly, this song just does nothing for me overall. It has kind of a nice instrumental. I like the little wonky synths. They kind of remind me of Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie. But really, this song is just so simple in structure, and I wasn't really crazy about a lot of the other singles, except for one, which I'll get to. So I was very cautious going into this album. But what did we get overall on Neon Pill? Well, first off, RCA Records, I really have to question why you released the songs as the singles that you did. The deep cuts here are so much better than the single tracks. This album is very unfocused as far as the sequencing goes. It has very odd structures. It will go from something like Float Into the Sky, which is definitely more of a concert sing-along anthem, than to Metaverse, which is more of a straight-ahead rocker, to a piano ballad, and it's just all over the place, and the tone is just being drug around. It feels like you're flipping through channels, hitting the Comedy Central, then Lifetime Movies follows it up. It feels more like a singles collection than a cohesive album. Although I would recommend this album kind of overall, because I do think it has some of Cage's best songs, it does have some of their worst, and Good Time definitely ranks among those. This might be the most laughably bad song Cage the Elephant has ever released. It has a very bouncy riff, but my god, these lyrics are just bad here. And it's so repetitive, it's laughable. I counted, he literally says the chorus, "Everybody had a good time," like 20 times. I swear to God, I counted while I was listening. It doesn't even sound like a Cage the Elephant song. It sounds like some forgotten late 2000s indie rock song from a shitty band your parents listened to, and it still gets played at the mall or Walmart. Like I said, just laughably bad and forgettable. The record actually starts off on a good note. I like the first 2 songs on the album, HiFi, True Light. The opener definitely has more of a garage rock feel. I love the guitars, and Schultz's vocals soar here. The next track on the album might be my favorite, and one I'm scratching my head and wondering, why wasn't Rainbow the lead single? It has excellent production, it's catchy, and the lyrics don't make me cringe. It's one that I've continuously come back to. I can't sing this song's praises enough. Definitely check this one out. Even if you don't check the rest of the songs or the deep cuts on this album out, check out the track Rainbow. In fact, I'll link it below. The next leg of the record is pretty weak in my opinion. Neon Pill's up next. Like I said, I can take that song or leave it. Ties in, take it or leave it. It's a very forgettable track here, and Float in the Sky is very similar to Good Time. It's so repetitive. It goes on for that chorus. Just goes on for a minute or two too long. It almost feels like this is the song they were trying to push as the hit, but no one liked it, so they just gave up. And then the weird sequencing comes back as Out Loud follows one of my favorite songs here, Metaverse, which I'll talk about. I'll talk about Out Loud later. Metaverse is such a great song here. Never thought it would be one of my favorites, but it's such a nice 2000s post-punk sounding cut. It's a little too short, but I really do love this one. And Out Loud is a more intimate piano ballad. It's a song I wasn't initially keen on, and it has grown on me a bit. I like how open Schultz is here with his personal issues, but it's just not one I would ever come back to much, even if I do like the sentiment of the song. Ball and Chain is the next song, and one that is very Melophobia sounding. I love the funky bass groove on this one, and it really does sound like old Cage. But then again, we run into a brick wall as Good Time follows up Ball and Chain, and I'm not going to talk about Good Time anymore because it's trash. It's a dumpster fire. Throw that song away. It's not worth your time. But the next song that follows up, Good Time, Shy Eyes, is one that I do like most of because it does have some really cool mathematical and groovy instrumentation, but the way Matt Schultz sings the chorus is a little awkward in my opinion. I like that the guitars are more present here and all over the record. Even though I do love Social Cues, the guitars on a lot, some of the songs are kind of a little bit more held back, even though they did have some solos, so I do like that they're more upfront and present here. The next song, which is a perfect example of that, is Silent Picture. This song has a very catchy, almost glam rock tinged riff that it opens with, and I thoroughly enjoy that. I'm a bit conflicted on the next track though. I'm kind of split on this one. I do find parts of it endearing, but feels like such a non-starter as the song isn't built up to a satisfying hook or conclusion. I will say I do like the closer, Over Your Shoulder. The acoustic guitar and backing vocals were a nice touch, and the song is a vibe I enjoy, even if the hook reminds me a little bit too much of I Love You So by the Walters. While Cage the Elephant didn't make an album quite as good or great as their past 3 albums, this album is still a defining work that proves why Cage are one of the most consistent real rock bands in the scene right now. It contains some great Cage songs, but also some filler that lengthened the track list a bit too much. I'm feeling overall a 3.5 out of 5 for Neon Pill. Let me know what you guys think of this album in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite Cage album or song is, and have a good day. Bye.